is political, and in a time of injustice, neutrality is complicity. In this time, lawyers must pick a side, either the side of the law or the side of lawlessness. You cannot stay in the middle. I want to pause, and I want to request most of you, in fact all of us, to pause for a second and imagine this. The Attorney General, the chambers of the Attorney General, the chambers of the Attorney General of this country, a man who brought the UPD Act Amendment of 2025 to drag civilians back into military tribunals. His chambers share a wall with these very headquarters of Uganda Law Society. Please pause and think about that. I will say that again. The private chambers of the Attorney General of the man, the Attorney General, the man who presented the UPDF Amendment Act of 2025 to drag civilians back to military courts. These chambers are sharing the wall with the Uganda Law Society office, where we are now. And his partner in those chambers is not just any other lawyer. He is the son-in-law of General Museveni, the man at the head of this regime. So now that is legal political marriage standing just meters away from us. Just pause and imagine that for a second. The politics is in the law, and the law is in the politics. They are both mixed and mingled. And yet some lawyers say they are neutral. They say the law is not political. And meanwhile, the president of the Uganda Law Society, Council Isaac Semakande, is in exile, largely because of his opinions. Now that is supposed to tell you everything that you need to know about the system. That even the society that is meant to defend lawyers cannot defend itself. And by the way, friends, don't get me wrong. I don't want to come off as if I'm pretending not to understand where we are. I know we're not living in France. I know we're living in Uganda under General Museveni. So, I understand. Don't get me wrong. I understand the complexities of legal practice and the dictatorship. I know that every lawyer here knows about the fate of the former Chief Justice of Uganda, Ben Chimanuka. I know that all lawyers in Uganda know that he was picked from his chambers and he has never been seen again up to the present day. So I can imagine the fear in the activist lawyers as they go about their work under this dictatorship. But again, friends, we must face it, because we cannot just resign to fate as if there's nothing that we can do about it. There's definitely something that we can do about it. If anything, it calls for us to be even more bold and more determined and face it with even more courage, because if lawyers don't speak up, then who will speak up against lawlessness? I recognize among you many noble lawyers that have not shied away whenever justice has called them. I want to thank you. I salute the legal team of the National Unity Platform for rising to the occasion and putting their fear aside to defend our members and our supporters and our fellow citizens against oppression and injustice. I salute the relentless work of lawyers like Counsel Aaron Chiza. I salute Counsel Radarius Wakafuzi. I salute Counsel George Musisi and many other lawyers whose practice has become synonymous with activism despite the risks. You guys are not just lawyers, you're patriots. And I want you to know that the Holy Spirit in the heart is God. Thank you very much. We all are strong and continue to be strong because of your example. I will also thank some of our brothers in the legal fraternity, people like Councilman. Thank you for always being a problem. Because you always challenge us to be the better version of ourselves. I'm glad that none of your challenges has gotten me off guard, and I hope none will get me off guard. We are not your friends. I mean, we are not your enemies, our brothers. We are colleagues trying to make Uganda better. And indeed, we must always keep each other in check and be open to be checked, because that's the best way we are going to be servant leaders. Brothers and sisters, today I want to dedicate this my presentation to the late Anthony Wameni, a lawyer whose commitment to defending victims of political persecution will remain imprinted in the memory of our struggle. Thank you very much. May his memory live in us forever. And to you now, the lawyers, the students of justice, and the citizens of Uganda, I say this. Please look back at the different generations of lawyers throughout Uganda's constitutional and political history, and please reflect on what they did when the nation was losing its way. Then pause a little and ask yourself, will your future self look back with pride to your present self? Will your future self be proud of the decisions and the position and the stand that you took today? That's a question that you don't have to answer right now, but I hope it's a question that will keep lingering in your mind. My brothers and sisters, it is a moral challenge to all of us lawyers. It is a moral challenge because if the law speaks, then lawyers must be the voice through which that law speaks. We must be the conscience that refuses to go numb. We must be the dream that refuses to die. We must be the truth that refuses to hide behind neutrality and technicality. Uganda is not short of lawyers. You are many, we are many. But Uganda is short of courageous lawyers. Lawyers who refuse to sell their bodies for convenience and for comfort. Lawyers who understand that justice is not a job description. Justice is a calling. If the law is being used as a weapon against the people, then let the lawyers be the shield. If the Constitution is under attack, let the lawyers be the defenders of the Constitution. As a lawyer, you should be found standing at all times. You should be found standing morally in the courtroom. You should be found standing in the streets. You should be found standing in history. And if your children and grandchildren are to ask one day, your answer should be that when the time came, I stood on the right side of history. Whether or not that will be your answer to your grandchildren is for you now to decide. I thank you very much, friends, for listening to me, and God bless you.
All right, another round of applause for the President. Thank you so much, Mr. President, for those thought-provoking statements, your wisdom shared, your personal experience. We have a lot of stories about you. We are so honored that you're able to come and share with us. We have a lot of respect for you. I come from Arua. I was one of the people who was in Arua at that time. It wasn't a very nice experience, but your bravery has brought us this far. We thank you so much, and we continue to pray that the Lord bless you in all your endeavors. We're very sure of you. You're just one of us. We love you, and we're not going to stop until the time comes right and the Lord answers the prayer. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, those physically present and those online, we're very honored to have you with us, and this is the Radical New Bar and the best thing that it does. Our tenets: democratization, decolonization, digital transformation, and demilitarization is what we are doing today, and we have had very beautiful statements from the President, a lot of take-homes that we are going to use into the next agenda item, which is question and answer. Mr. President, we thank you that you're able to be here with us. We'd like to delve into question and answer. We know there are questions in the house, there are also questions online. We'd like to take a few minutes to go into that session, and we have a microphone over here moving around with Samantha. Are you in? Ladies and gentlemen, time for questions of what has just been shared by the President, please. Do you have? Okay. We got one question here, Mr. President, from one Gerald Odom. He is asking, Honorable, we need you as a member of the Uganda Society Radical New Bar. What are you doing? When are you doing the bar post and becoming a member? Mr. President, these are not our questions. We are taking questions from the general public and some from members. I would request that you receive them with grace, like you've always done, and feel free to answer them. We shall also, through you, allow you to maybe pass the questions that you think can be answered by your panel, so as to engage the public. And ladies and gentlemen, you're also allowed to ask the panel available. They're all distinguished, interestingly, lawyers. Ladies and gentlemen, just clap for the panel today. It's a full lawyer panel. Thank you. That's the Radical New Bar. Thank you. The other question is from one Goreti Nami. Goreti says, thank you, our President, for your courage and bravery. My question is about overstay in power. Sometimes members of the opposition fault the incumbent president for overstay in power. However, they have also been MPs of their regions for too long and are not giving young people a chance to serve. What is your opinion on that? And given that you have been the NUP president for 2 terms, will you be willing to step down in future? I hope that was succinct. Is it sufficient, Mr. President? Thank you. We have Mr. Shafiq Were. Thank you so much for the questions. Many Ugandans have lost hope in Ugandan politics. Majority don't even go to vote. What is your message to us who don't have hope and do not plan on voting in 2026? Mr. President, we shall allow you the grace to answer those 3 as the others are flowing, and the public physically present is also going to take time to ask a few questions. Thank you. You can activate the microphone. Is that okay?
Check 1, 2.
That's right. Respect.
Yeah. Thank you very much. These are rather interesting questions. When are you joining the bar? When am I going to the bar post? Friends,
I'm a problem person. It would be embarrassing, but because of my circumstances, it's actually interesting to mention that while others study a law degree for 4 years, I studied it for 7 years. Because for 7 years and in 2 universities, because of the political situation that you see in Uganda, in and out of the classroom, in and out of prison. And the situation has not changed. I'm thankful that I was able to accomplish this, and it's my desire to become a real lawyer, because I know that a lawyer that has not done the back horse is like a horse with a broken back. So I am aware that there is something missing. However, there's more important work that we are doing. We are removing a dictator. And when that is done, when time allows, I'll definitely go back, and I'll be very proud to join the bar then. About overstaying power. For clarity, I don't believe in overstaying power. General Museveni said it, and I agree with him, that the problem with Uganda, in particular Africa in general, and the leaders are overstaying power. It's not written anywhere that, a leader should stay and stay and stay and stay. If a leader does not inspire other leaders to come and take over from that leader, then that leader has failed. So I don't believe in overstaying power. I know that majority, if not all leaders, say exactly what I'm saying before they get into power. General Museveni was saying exactly what I'm saying, only more eloquent, when he was my age. But it's the same person that does not want to be reminded of what he said when he was my age. I know that. So, knowing that, I also know that good leaders are not born out of their own hearts, are born out of the situation. So, it's a reason why we started the People Power Movement, because our power is with the people. And also, it's our desire to inspire as many new and young leaders as possible, so that they are available to replace us. But also, we believe mainly in institutions that outlive human greed and human weaknesses. I don't want to be the all-knowing guy, the big boss, the big daddy, the strong man. That syndrome we must demystify, we must destroy, and we must flush in the dustbins of history. So I believe that leaders should come, and leaders should go and give way to other leaders. You mentioned about MPs that have overstayed in position. Run against them. When I saw that Museveni had overstayed in power, I did not just sit on the periphery to complain. I showed up, cut off my legs, put on a tie, and I took on the guy and defeated him. And now we want to defeat him again. So don't just speak from the periphery. Step up and present yourself. Not just for the sake of challenging the guy that overstayed in power, but present new ideas, present new options, convince people. Majority of us are young people. So why don't you show up and present your options, and people will believe in you, and we shall move on. And finally, Shafiq said many people are losing hope. And what's the message? Bro, freedom comes to those who fight, not to those who cry or give up. The more you cry, the more your people continue to die, and after the death of your people, you're the next to die. So rise to the occasion and do what you must do. Giving up is not an option in this situation. And it even impresses me to listen to a young person giving up. You're giving up on a guy who is 84, and you're giving up. The people that are ruling over us have already gone past their future is behind them. You're in your 20s, your 30s, and you're giving up. Come on, man. There's a lot of time for us to be there. And that time will either be a time of suffering or a time of enjoyment. It depends on what we do now. There's no time of giving up. There's no time for giving up. Get up, fold our sleeves, and do what we must do to prepare the country that we shall grow old in, and the country where we shall raise our children. That's my answer to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. Were has gotten his answer. Bro, we have to fight together. Yeah, respect. We have a question from a gentleman here.
Yes, Mr. President, I'm called Ronald Seka. Mr. President, I work with Olawino newspaper. I'm going to ask mine in Uganda because we write for Uganda readers. Seko President, Gakaruka Bia Yumuka Akagwa. President Jepsileyo abantu bagamba nti wagamba nti n'omwaka tekujja kuwera nga Nakyemanya tonnamujja kuyinza. Naye otulukidde olwaleero nga Nakyemanya akyali entebe mu ntebe. Entebe yo akyalimu. President gamba bannayuganda n'abavubuka abakkiririzaamu ennyo bukodyo ki bw'ogenda okukozesa okulaba nga Nakyemanya ava mu ntebe yo oba ogenda kumulinda afulufu.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Seka. Mr. President, would like to request that we have a round of questions because we have been informed that your schedule is already tight. We shall allow a few more questions, not so many. Then we can run the schedule faster than now. The President has been with us for a while now. Let's run our questions so fast.
Thank you. I'm the chair from Iraq. I am journalist. I think this is the best forum for me to raise this question. Mr. President of NUP and your panel, we have heard from you several times saying you've taken different channels of addressing injustice in Uganda, including going to the East African Court of Justice, and at some point the ICC about the injustices here. Well, your party still lingers around looking for about 18 people whose whereabouts have never been seen today. Maybe 5 years ago, until today. What are the other channels you do to bring home the families of these 18 people?
Thank you so much.
Because we've always used the justice system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. We request that you just take those questions. There's one behind, please. Around 2 over there.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Moore Ibrahim. And like you, I have got my law degree in my 40s. You said here that during times of injustice, neutrality is complicity. But it is also true that in history, we have never had a community of only brave men. You have called upon lawyers. What message do you have for those who have vestiges of cowardice?
Thank you, thank you. Next question, we're running out of time. Mr. President, I hope that is sufficient. You'll take him out, thank you. Sorry?
Mr. President, Magom Ivan, aka People's Advocate is my name. Mr. President, with due respect to all questions asked to you because you're the head of state, but I want to be inclined to the theme of today about lawyers. Mr. President, just like you said, it took you 7 years to complete your law degree, but I want to tell you that it may take you 14 years to get your practicing certificate. I want to use this platform to bang the table to inform you to charge the people who can influence, because I know we have a shadow government, but you're also the president of this country. Mr. President, I want to report to you that it can take 7 years or even more after one completing a law degree or even a bar course that they don't get their practicing certificates. This in one way or the other affects the justice system. Some of us who would want maybe to participate actively are stopped.
Thank you so much.
So from this perspective,
Yes.
you can reach out to the law because it's in parliament or any other alternative and run lawyers to challenge the law council to expedite the process of getting practicing certificates so that we can participate
Thank you.
in the change of this country.
Thank you so much. 2 more questions behind over there.
Good morning, afternoon, everyone. I think you know me, I'm the citizen. My Bobi, how are you, Mr. Chabalani? Mr. how are you? Yes. For me, as I always tell you every week, the Human Rights Commission is where human rights go to die. The Ugandan judiciary is where justice goes to die. The Election Commission is where elections go to die. I think we saw what happened last week on Thursday. They deposed-listed Uganda Law Society. So therefore, Mr. President, and I put it to you and my question to you is, can't we create a new system which does not involve, at least for the election, the Ugandan judiciary, create some sort of tribunals which can handle election petitions expeditiously, so that the lawyers show that they're doing something. Because running to Dolo's incompetent judiciary, we have a corrupt judge at Court of Appeal, there's, I'm told, a rapist judge at Court of Appeal, we have all really, you can say our judiciary is just from, and it's the very judiciary condemning its own for being corrupt, for being, all sorts of things. So therefore, can you have that platform? A separate, maybe for tribunals which handle election petitions, and then, help us handle that. Such that we don't have to keep on appealing. Personal callers win has been challenged. It was decided, Court of Appeal, we don't know when. So thank you, Mr. President. Can we have that forum? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will you check that for now?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much. The questions are interesting. Now, Chiseka asked me in Uganda, he said, "Somebody go Maruseka." I know that we are supposed to use the national language, but again, I understand the language in which he asked.
It's called the official language. National language.
Thank you. Thank you. It had to be my language. Thank you for the correction. For the first time, we got the almost off that.
Right, the rubber duck style.
Yeah, so, someone was going to say, Museveni mugieko era n'obuuza nti bukujja okiwengenda okwesa kati olaba mani mba njagala nnyo ne mufuna bulungi naddala mu bannamawulire era obuzibu obusinga okubeerawo mu nsi kwogera ekigambo n'ekigenda okuva mu kamwako okutuuka eri abantu bwekigamba nga kituusibwa emirundi 10 nabagamba era nkiddamu nti Museveni bwe tuba tukoze kye tulina okukola n'omwezi takumala kusagamba mwaka bwe tuba tukoze si bwe mba nkoze bwe tuba tukoze kye tulina okukola nga bannansi mwabo bannansi naawe poliisi ng'obadde oyogedde Lujamani nandirowoozeza nti oba oli Mukongo naye engeri gy'ogerako oli kukikakasa nti oli Munnayuganda nga naawe kooli era njagala okubasaba obuuza nti bukodyo ki bwe ngenda okukozesa njagala nnyo okubasaba mwenna abampuliriza abali wano n'abatulaba eyo tye n'ensonga si ya Kyagulanyi yekka obuzibu bwe businga okuva mu nsonga za Uganda kwe kuzirekera omuntu omu Dr. Semogere tubikulekedde tulwanirire Dr. Besigye tubikulekedde tulwanirire paka bamukooya amanye nekavaamu ku Kyagulanyi najja Kyagulanyi twafuna bwe lwamala temwafuna nze lumba mwafuna nze nange nabafuna mwe lwaki mwagala munfuna emirembe bafuna So njagala bwe mufuna nange bafune tukole kye tulina okukola kubanga mwe mujja n'okusinga okunyumirwa Uganda nga tumaze okutuuka mu nsi ensuubizi. Fe abamu bajja kuba batumenyemenya amagulu, abalala tetukyalya mmere kutuwoomera, abalala tetukyeyagala bulungi budde bw'ekiro olwa ne batuyisizaamu. So kye tulina okukola tulina kikola ffenna ng'eggwanga si nsonga ya Kyagulanyi, eno nsonga yaffe ffenna. Era bwe tukola kye twetaaga okukola ne kiba nga tekinnatuukirira, ekyo temukikozesa kuyeeya Kyagulanyi oba kujerega Kyagulanyi, wabula mwefumiitirize mulabe oke kye tukozeeko kye kino wabwe tukomye ki kye tusobola okwongerako okutuuka gye tulina okutuuka. Engeri yokka tugenda okwetaasa ng'eggwanga. Thank you very much. Wandera asked me about different channels of addressing injustice. We have used different channels. We continue to pursue all avenues to fight for justice, to demand for our missing people, who the government, through the Prime Minister and very many other government officials have come out and admitted having them, but are not giving them to us. So we are pursuing every available legal and constitutional means. But again, we will not block the way, or we are not standing in the way of other Ugandans that are equally paying, that are pursuing other ways. In 1980, while the Uganda studies and the same organizations were pursuing political and legal means, Museveni and his friends pursued forceful and violent means. So just like the Uganda studies of the 80s, we are not standing in the way of those that are trying to free themselves by any means necessary. Neutrality is complicity, but there's no community for only brave men, my brother said. And he's asking me, what advice do I have for the cowards? My brother, you the cowards, you better die. Anyway, on a serious note, and I will quote one of my friends. You see, I have so many friends in the music fraternity, and there's this friend of mine who annoys me so much, but one of my favorite friends. His name is Chaka. I was chatting with Chaka one time, and I got angry. I said, you guys are our friends. You Chaka, you are not artists, you're popular artists. Why the hell are you silent? Why don't you speak out? Because you are an artist, you are known. And Chaka says, Bobi, whatever. Never said that you have Malcolm X, never Martin Luther King. Why do what I live in Uganda? Chaka say, you see, Bobi, even in the days of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, they had friends who were cowards. They did not kill them. So please don't kill me. I understand that our courage is not at the same levels. And I'm not in any way claiming to be courageous. I always say I'm only desperate. I just don't have any other option. And I'm sure you too can be as courageous if you run out of options. But now that you still have deceitful options and you choose to identify as a coward, there's also something that you can do, coward. This is what you can do. Number one, don't be used. If you can't be on the front line fighting for better or defending others, at least don't be used. There's this saying that we were told by Malcolm X that no one can make you a slave without your permission. We permit our oppressors with our actions or omissions. We facilitate our oppressors. So if you fear to do something, then don't do anything in support of the oppressor. But again, you can do something in a safe way. We are living in the days of social media. You can tweet and post and make sure you push the message forward. You can be underground. There are many people that you know and many that you don't know that are actually very helpful in our struggle. Some of them are even working in public offices. Some of them are officers in the regime, I won't give you their names. But because they fear to lose their jobs, they fear to lose their status, they fear to lose their life, they only help us or help the struggle silently. So in this day and age of options, clearly everybody can do something to further the struggle, even a coward. I thank you. Now, the People's Advocate asked me a question. He talked about the compromised system and a dysfunctional legal system. I'm very glad Senior Counsel Benjamin Katana had me, and I request that you permit me, ask him to help me respond to that with his seniority. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it is important for us to appreciate that there cannot be a safe room in a burning house. The industry, just like the rest of the country, is undergoing challenges on account of the dysfunctionality of the NRM regime. So the only way out is not to approach it piecemeal. You are pushing for faster processing of practicing certificates, that you are pushing for faster processing of ABC. It's important that we collectively work towards an overhaul of the entire system. And that will begin by removal of the dysfunctional regime. And establish a government that is not extractive in nature. A government that is service-centered and people-centered, not a government that works for the people. Today you will process that, but the next day you go to Mlago Hospital and again you will be shocked by the dysfunctionality. The next day you take your child and you will be shocked by the dysfunctionality. So what we are experiencing now, technology is trying to sabotage my point, but nevertheless I will make it. Okay, thank you. The regime is experiencing a multiple organ failure. And our responsibility as citizens of Uganda is to make sure that we put it to rest. And bring into office a government that is people-centered. And I had a question about people being the cowardice, the brave. I think it is very important for the people of Uganda and for you lawyers to appreciate that what we are involved in is not electoral competition with Museveni and the NRM regime. What we are involved in is a war to reclaim the soul of our nation. And so, you will not leave the work to be done on, you will say, I don't support LUP, or I do not support the leader of LUP. But this fight is for you, as a citizen of Uganda, to make sure that a lawyer, as advocate of the people, or people's advocate, you are able to process your documentation without unnecessary delays. That when you go to hospital, you are able to be treated without unnecessary delays. So the people of Uganda must understand that what we are involved in is not an electoral competition, but a war to reclaim the soul of Uganda. And we must all embrace it, regardless of whether we like LUP, whether we like its leader or not. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The last question was more or less similar to the previous one and has been largely answered. However, there's a question that came through the message to those that have given up on elections. I gave it an answer, but that's a very important question that I will want to have different perspectives about. So allow me, Councilwoman, I invite you to respond to that question.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Very delighted to be here today. The very interesting questions that have come on the floor. Well, our message is that the people of Uganda need to know that if you do not participate in elections and in governance, then you lose the right to complain when things go wrong. And that's what we've seen. We've seen, even with the massive rigging and election fraud that we see in all these elections, we see that the voter turnout is very, very low. Honorable Nalgola here, I don't remember what the exact percentage was, but it was below 20%. The people who turned out, below 20% of the people. So 14.4%. So you can imagine if, that is to exclude the ballot boxes which were kicked by regime thugs and all that. But even if we were to add all those, I don't think we would hit the 20% mark. So if 14% of the people come out to vote their leaders, how do you then wake up every day ranting on X that things have gone wrong? Look at what is happening now. These NRA people are having their primaries. People who have stolen iron sheets have come back with proceeds from that. They are now distributing money and all that. Money that they have stolen from these poor people, they are giving it out to different people, and these different people are ready, in some cases, to go and vote them again. So I think there has to be an awakening of the consciousness of the people. And for us as NEP, we talk about the protest vote. To say that the protest vote begins with a massive voter turnout. Our president has already said something. He says it in Uganda, but I also say it in English. If you do not come up to vote, and then the regime is able to mobilize, to pay people, to bribe people, and they come up to vote, and then tomorrow why would you complain when things continue going south? We've been telling people that if you do not come up at your village to vote for an LC1 chairperson, and the village thief is elected, then don't start complaining tomorrow when your chicken begins to disappear. Because on the day when you were supposed to go out and vote, you chose to stay home. So that is our call, that this time around, the election is coming up. I think the president was, maybe deliberately did not mobilize you or charge you lawyers to come out and vote for him. He's unopposed in our party for the presidential flag bearer. I want this opportunity to call upon all lawyers, come and vote for him and support the National Unity Platform. Because the National Unity Platform is the only party that will guarantee social justice and fairness in the management of the affairs of this country. But the most important point is that on that day, prepare for voting day the way you prepare for important days in your life. We see people prepare for weddings as if it's a very, very do or die. Lawyers prepare for court. You write in your diary, you say on this particular day, I have a very, very important case. I have a mediation. I have an arbitration matter to handle. So why don't you prepare for an election day the way you prepare for these big days? We've been telling the young people of Uganda, they normally prepare. When they hear that an artist, an international artist is coming to Uganda, they prepare for months. But when it comes to an election, someone goes and they see a long queue, they say, I will not go there. So, the only thing we did, for example, to get the victory for Honorable Nalgola is because we protested. People protested. People stayed at polling stations and said we are not going to leave these polling stations until our results are announced. And the people followed those results to ensure that they are announced. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Conrad Lewis, and please bear with us. I want to thank you for asking for the vote for me. And I reiterate that request. Guys, please vote for me. I'm your own. They're the only guys who make the vote. I am. You bear with me. It would be very necessary for us to live here I mean, it would not be characteristic of what we stand for if we live here only having heard male voices. So allow me to invite my Deputy President in charge of Northern Uganda and also the Senior Council, Mamadi Nazebiga, that just give us a word from a woman to the women and to us the men. Thank you.
Yes, that is my president, that is our president, the intergenerational, the iconic, the enigma. Yes, thank you so much, Your Excellency, you have my vote, and my address is specifically to the women. We are bearing the brand of this militarized, monetized space called Uganda. Our bodies have become the interview panels. Interview through sex. Yes, we have the evidence. I'm a member of Uganda. Your dignity is being violated, even your own children and grandchildren. We should be so annoyed to reclaim our dignity, our identity as the women, especially the women lawyers. Run for all positions possible under NU. Defend, proclaim, recruit, and if they steal our votes, demand. As women, we can do it. By example, I am here. In my late life, going to be 64 this year. But here I am, because I would like us to live a legacy like the Wangari Maathai. Why are we living incognito? What is your legacy as the women lawyers? And especially those from northern region, where we are, our people right now are being threatened all over. I got messages and shared. They want to portray northern region as NRM infected and infested. It's not true. It's not. Exactly. So, as Dr. Eliud Kipchoge says, rightfully, the iconic Olympian, he says, no human is limited. People look to us as the lawyers. We need to ensure that we address the root cause of why Uganda will have degenerated to this level of disrespect for human dignity, disrespect for rule of law, disrespect for dialogue, disrespect for humanity, and therefore uproot it and be at the table as we set and reset to reclaim human dignity, to reclaim our motherland. We can do it. It's not only for our president, but each one of us multiply yourself and be courageous. Even those who believe they are cowards, you are not cowards. You just want to deny your human dignity. Reclaim it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, both physically present and those that are online, we would like to notify you that whereas we appreciate the questions that are flowing in, showing the attachment you have to this topic, which has always been something that we advertise in the Radical New Bar, we have information that the president of NUP has another schedule and would like to request that he be allowed to wind the day as far as this function is concerned in order to attend to other functions. As we know, he's a very busy man. It took so much to get him here. We usually have our activity of this nature on Thursdays at 11, but we got a call as the ULS to kindly and exceptionally allow that this function be held on Tuesday. So kindly bear with us, but we would like to acknowledge the questions that have been coming in online from one Eli Kasirie, one Nabudi Asia, one Naula Joseph, from Zoom, one Atwoki, another Gaga Joseph Gali, and one from Wallace. As you were informed, Mr. President, this is an online program as well that is being watched by thousands of members of the public and the advocates, over 5,000 plus. So we receive questions endlessly, and you are a person of interest. And it also just leaves us with a lot to discuss. So kindly allow the president to wind the day, and before that, would like to invite the council member from the East to take us through the next agenda item that is something very critical in order for us to carry the day thereafter. Thank you so much.
Okay, wow, so much flying around this room here. I'll not take much time. Mr. President and those online, those physically present, I'm hoping you're having a good time. Councilman amazing. Please allow his award to be seen by the President. We recently awarded Councilman for a decade of rule of law advocacy. As is the customary, Mr. President, we always put pen to paper. We don't want to just talk and keep talking. We want to walk the walk. On previous occasions, we have made declarations and signed with the many of our guests a commitment to election justice, to a violence-free, transparent, and fair process. We have designed one this afternoon. And I want just to read through it for members just to be able to understand what we are signing this afternoon before we can let you attend to your other days engagements. The title is the Declaration of Alliance Against Electoral Violence and Call for Free, Fair and Transparent Elections. The last part of Call for Free, Fair was inserted by our own land council, Lewis. It's important to rally members and rally the community and rally the stakeholders. The body is this. We then assign the members of the ULS, government, civil society, media, and the human rights organizations come together to condemn electoral violence in all its forms and to pledge our collective efforts towards preventing and mitigating its occurrence in Uganda. Recognizing the fundamental right of citizens to participate in peaceful and free elections and the importance of upholding the rule of law and democratic principles. Acknowledging the history of electoral violence and injustice in Uganda, which have marred the country's electoral process and undermined trust and democratic institutions. Noting the disproportionate impact of electoral violence on women, journalists, communities, and the need for targeted measures to protect these groups here. We commit to 1, promoting free, fair, and peaceful elections through advocacy, education, and community engagement. 2, supporting victims of violence through legal aid, counseling, and other forms of assistance. Holding perpetrators accountable through robust investigations, prosecutions, and sanctions. 3, strengthening institutional capacity to prevent and respond to electoral violence, including through training and capacity building of law enforcement, judiciary, and electoral officials. We call upon all stakeholders, including political parties, candidates, and citizens, to join us in this effort to build a culture of peace, tolerance, and respect for human rights in Uganda's electoral processes. This is signed at the ULS House today, the 15th day of July 2025. Mr. President and our distinguished guests and those that are attending, we are going to endorse upon this document as a commitment that we shall walk the walk in 2026.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We are moving fast into the next agenda item. This is common practice with the Uganda Law Society. We're trying to make sure it doesn't just go in vain whenever we hold such critical topics, especially in regard to elections. we try to make a commitment, and we are continuing to commit ourselves in the same cause. In the meantime, we'd like to make an announcement. Car registration number UBG088M and UBR512B, you're kindly requested to access your vehicle to allow the car behind you to make way. Kindly, UBG088M and UBR512. Kindly. It's urgent. Kindly reach your vehicle wherever you parked it. Mr. President, in the meantime, as you are signing these documents and commitments, we'd like to acknowledge the presence of Advocate Nasser Abed Mudiole, who is your member as well and was recently a victim of election violence, as you had announced. I will say so. He was arrested on the 16th day of March 2025. He was eventually released on the 23rd day of March 2025, and we had the honor to host him on the 5th day of April 2025 to share his account, and we honored him for standing brave like we have spoken, as it is the case. And we would like to also let you know that with the Uganda Law Society, he is working together hand in hand to eventually petition the Constitutional Court in regard to the unlawful drilling as provided for under Section 45 of the Penal Code Act. We shall be very grateful once we get the support. We thank you. We also recognize the presence of Council Sassi, who was once here with us, that they need so much introduction. We recognize the presence of Council Musisi, who was here with us. These are the soldiers that you have mentioned, and we have them here with us, and they have been enabling the public with impartation of knowledge. We also have the presence of Council Yasin, who is a stalwart of the Radical Yuba. He's the head of ideology, and he has a very short message for you as well as the public. I would like to invite him to come forth and very briefly, like we say, let's keep knowledgeable of the schedule of the president. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MC, and our advocate here, members present, and those online, like have been introduced. My name is Sentumwe Yasin Nagomba. I am the head of ideology of the Radical Yuba. Mr. President, we are honored and exceedingly humbled to have you in our midst today. And like we have talked about violations, form of abduction, wrongful detention, our president, Council Isaac Kimase Semakade, Senior Council, is in exile. I am very alive to the fact that the NRM government, in its endeavor to restore human rights, one of its tenets was that no Ugandan should live outside this country. You very well remember the days of Kabaka Mwanga. You very well remember the days of Kabalega, Omukama, of Bunyoro, and the trend has continued. Amidst you, majority of you, if I'm not mistaken, you're all lawyers. And if I may request, can we have lawyers stand up with you, with your team? Mr. President, you realize that everyone on this table is a lawyer. Kindly take your seat. How do we have a society that cannot feel the presence of its leader? Senior Counsel Semakade has been in exile as a result of the lawyers' work. As a society, the Attorney General of this country is a lawyer. The judge that almost sentenced Semakade to 2 years imprisonment. Justice Musa Sekan, as then was in a minute, in the absence of Semakade, had him convicted him and sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment. Whereas we talk about human rights violation, let's also realize the fact that exile, living in exile, is a matter of human rights violation. Semakade had a lot to do. Your presence here is as a result of Semakade's tremendous work. I am requesting you to use the office of the leader of opposition to say no to exile. You have mentioned Justice Kisache, whom Semakade aggressively advocated that she will not live in exile when he's the head of the bar. And as fate that be, Semakade found her in exile. I don't know who will be next, but I will remember the words of the former Muslim cleric, Sheikh Muzata, when he said that those who had exiled people during Amin's time found them there during Obote's time. For whoever is exiling people today might find them after today. Mr. President, I thank you for honoring our arrangement, and please ask the leader of opposition, Honorable Sewungu, Haj, Honorable Narukola, the Secretary General, please, we need to combine the effort and condemn the continued exiling of our Supreme Leader, Isaac Kimaze Semakade. I thank you and wish you a wonderful journey.
Thank you so much. It goes without saying that a sitting without honorable All right, thank you, our panel of distinguished guests. We'd like to move forth. We are running out of time. You'll bear with us once again, like I said. We're going to kindly request the panel that has the declarations before them to kindly stand up and display them for purposes of accountability, like is always the case. And the media, that is the fourth estate, who we're very grateful to, shall take pictures, and we shall use this as a commitment to follow up on issues concerning election violence and look forward to a peaceful election that is coming forth, and therefore ask that we walk the talk like our council member has said. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And what is it a sitting like without a tickle from Honorable Narukola? Kindly, 1 second. Activate the button. Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. But what would I say? Once I was nothing. Let me tell you something. When John F. Kennedy was contesting for presidency in the United States of America, he wanted the support of the black people. He went to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and requested for his support. What Dr. Martin Luther King did, he advised John F. Kennedy to organize a press conference, invites Dr. Martin Luther to sit there with him. And indeed, that's what John F. Kennedy did. And that message went to the black people that Dr. King has supported John F. Kennedy. I am with President Chagulani, and I salute him for the wonderful message. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable. Honorable happens to be my Obi. We went to law school together. We were living Stonewall, and Council Katana, Benjamin, at the INC. We honor you, and we are grateful to meet once again, especially in this capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the close of this function. You may be notified about the empty chair, the principle. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to go without getting to know what it means now and beyond. This is a symbolization of a departed soul, and to symbolize his void felt within our hearts even in his absence. And in this particular regard, this is to honor our fallen icon, Professor George William Kanihama, who has already been spoken about. And what is more interesting and more for us to check home is these books that we are seeing before us are from the President's personal library, Isaac K. Semakade, so as to know that he is knowledgeable and is a true champion of the rule of law and good governance. So we would like to continue to appreciate and be with him, and as we pray for his soul to continue to rest in peace, and also use the legacy as the President has already advised us, to see him as those shoes that we need to fill, very big ones, but also the good thing is we are all lawyers. So for the lawyers out here, anything else can be used, but this is what we have to use as our icon and our example. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we come into the close of this function and would like to take the opportunity to invite our panel that usually sits with us to take a group picture. But before that, we are going to have a vote of thanks coming from two distinguished individuals. Mr. President and your panel, please be notified that the Rule of Law Department and Litigation is established to go down to institutions as well as the public, and for this matter, we also have management of rule of law clubs in the different universities in Uganda, one of them being your former university, Cavendish University, Makerere University, and we have presidents from those clubs that are members and attendees of this function. We would like to call one of them, or the team that has been sat in here for this time, to give a vote of thanks in representation of the children and the people who are going to be proud of their future tomorrows, as we have said. We'd like to welcome Angela, Brother Angel, to give a vote of thanks, after which we shall be hearing from the Honorable Seungu, who will give a vote of thanks in his accord, and then we shall come towards the end of the function. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues and fellow advocates for social justice, I am honored to stand before
they are shadowing me because I'm the foreign minister as appointed by the president. I would like them this opportunity to thank Uganda Law Society. And the stride is taken by the R&B to explore the silent discussions that the oppressors are afraid of. Uganda Law Society, with the past leadership, they were in sleeping mode. And the coming of Senior Counsel Isaac Asumakade, he brought us out of the mortuary. We should be glad for that. The leadership we had at that time, Mr. President, was only available for the Benjamin Day commemoration. And that would be the end of Uganda Law Society. But ever since we got our president, everything is moving on very well. I would like to thank our president. In his presentation, whatever delivered us, our interests as advocates. As lawyers, is paying key attention to chapter 4 of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. The moment you kill that chapter, then you have abrogated the Constitution. With this kind of struggle, we can be able to come out of the challenges we are having. We had a very senior judge who passed on, may he so rest in peace, Justice. Our cases to handle, but he was asked to just give assistance whenever there will be a missing judge. And in the end, what happened? What's the matter? Pain. As a result of challenges of the law. I was told recently we know what has helped us. We had a lot of challenges when we were removing members of parliament. That was overall. And you, the younger generation, you have to continue struggling. When we go for these elections, we will be present wherever we shall be. For the next election, as you
Commissioner. Please join me here. It's part of our R&B regalia.
All right.